Hello, everyone. This is Lee Andres Makathame, and thanks again for joining me. Today, I have guests from Ghana who are going to talk about their entrepreneurialism in starting new opportunities, new businesses during one of the most horrific times of my generation, the pandemic, the COVID virus pandemic. So let's get right to it. I am going to start. Everybody's going to introduce themselves and let you know who they are and what they do. And I'm going to start with James, who worked with somebody that was on a LinkedIn Live broadcast not long ago. Felix, who started the ADP list. So James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Lee, for having us here. My name is James. I'm from Ghana. I started ADP list with Felix, which I'm going to talk about later. But then personally in Ghana, I started a startup with some friends, Joseph, called Half Finding. Basically, what we are doing is to connect talents, entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and designers to new opportunities and investors. So we are just trying to create an ecosystem where everybody is able to grow and then develop. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And let's go with Joseph next. Are we going to Joseph next? Joseph is frozen. How about Eldad?
Hi, everyone. My name is Eldad. I'm a lead designer at a digital products agency called Code Hub. And basically, what we do is digital design, so branding, apps development, web development. And why we started was the level of quality and attention that's given to design in the community we are in is really not that great. It's almost like an afterthought. So I think the rest of the world kind of got to the point where design was a key frontier in terms of business results, but we are still catching on. And we really wanted to get in the space where we can actually develop that concept and build a business model around it. So that's what I've been helping do. But outside like my day job where I'm actually handling that, I'm also very interested in the design community in general. So last year, James and I started UX Ghana. That's a community that looks to bring UX design to the fore, to talk to people, create a community, engage, have events, and to some level make the practice, just more formal, because it's still a very, hush-hush concept. It's new, people are not getting into it. So there's not a lot of guidance. So we really wanted to create something that brought guidance to the fore, that connected people and just made it easy for somebody to connect or to learn or to grow. So that's me and, the stuff I've been up to.
That's incredible. All right, Joseph, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what keeps happening.
That's
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Technology, dude. Okay.
Sure. So I'm Joseph Kiipo. I'm co-founder of Design Hub and also co-founder of Hub Finding with James. So basically, what I would do at Design Hub is basically trying to bridge the gap between companies looking for talent in terms of design and then the talent itself. So I've kind of been in a process of trying to find people to come on board in teams or in companies as designers. And the process has been very, very difficult in Africa here because you don't get people who meet up to the standard that company needs. So what Design Hub tends to do is pick up people, put them into cohorts, and train them to gaining the right skills needed to be employed into companies as UI UX designers. So the whole business of Design Hub is just training Africans on how to become very good UI UX and get them jobs and internship in different companies across the country. It's all in line with a vision of trying to create that hunger and that niche where people actually get the right value for design and then create companies to actually invest more in the design process, creating more jobs for designers around Africa. So basically that's what Design Hub does. Yeah.
That's amazing. My goodness. Daniel?
Okay, so I'm Daniel Ampofo. I run an advertising and branding agency called 93 Studios, where basically we're just trying to make people fall in love with brands just by looking at them, right? And beside 93 Studios, I have a foundation that is called Dex Ghana. And what Dex Ghana is doing is that we are just creating experiences for designers here in Ghana. So we have probably been organizing one of the biggest graphic design conferences right here in Accra. The numbers have increased right from 100 people for the first edition to over 600 people for the edition that we had last year. And through this community, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to get all designers to think alike so that we can all grow together. So that is the very core vision of Dex Ghana. building a community where designers all over the country are able to think along a certain line and be able to appreciate each other and collaborate on projects that will kind of put Ghana in quote on the map when it comes to design. So that is basically what I have been up to, and that's what I have been doing.
Okay, there's a common theme that I'm hearing between the four of you. So it's all centered around people. That's number one. Specifically, designers, whether it is UX design, but all the different segments that fall under design, whether it is design, whether it's branding, whether it's user experience. This is all really about designing, right? And tied to that, you're also concerned about the welfare of Africa, right? Of your population, and growing this capability within your communities to elevate the importance of whatever it is that causes or that company is trying to achieve. Is that right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So let's get some hardcore questions. Are you guys all formally trained as designers, or do you come from an IT background? Let's start with Eldad. What is your background?
So I studied computer science in uni. So I started from developing apps, mostly front end stuff. But I always had a knack for design and social media marketing and marketing in general. So I've kind of been trying to find a fix, because after like 1 year university, I like coding. It kind of makes me feel smart, but I didn't think it was for me. Like I didn't enjoy it. So I was trying to find where's the right mix between technology and design and marketing and all these other things. So that's how I stumbled into UX. So I actually started from brand identity design and graphic design, like 5, 6 years ago, and then slowly transitioned into UI UX design. And now I'm at the point where I'm actually working with a team of 6 other designers who are specializing in like very different things. So my role is more, directing people, helping them drive business goals and making sure everybody works together to get a certain result. So like I started from, programmer, and now I'm like a design lead in a digital design agency. So that's kind of how it worked for me. Yeah. And just a quick one, the reason like people is really important to me because throughout that entire process, there was very little help, right? And the little help that I got was really significant. So when I got to the position where we could pull funds together to start talking to people about the craft and start getting them involved, like I heard some people like, it was on Twitter, like we need to start a community. James responded, and another guy responded, and they were like, yeah, we need to get people in there because the information was very little back then. It's still relatively little now. So from IT all the way to where we are currently, that's kind of my story.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, before I go back, did you guys know each other? How long have you known each other?
Well, I think I've known Eldad for probably over 4 or 5 years. James,
yeah, because we're in the same university.
James and Joseph was last year. I think I met them last year at the UX Ghana event.
Yeah. I think funny enough, we are all from the same university, same university, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
I mean, but I think the whole funny thing is how we're all disjointly doing stuff, and later on we came back because I knew Eldad way back in school. I was his senior, he was his junior. We met on a project, and then later on, like I think 4 or 5 years, we came and we were all in the same field all over again. So yeah, we're like disconnected and came back together as being in the same field, working on the same ideas together. So yeah, we kind of know each other.
So that's good. So I think the point there is that you do need to leverage your network, and you do need to work with people that you have familiarity with and that you trust. Because when you're opening up your business, you do need a lot of help, right? But you're saying that a lot of help wasn't available, so the people become that trusted source. Joseph, did you get into design from the development side, the technology side, or the creative side, or how did you get into UX?
Yeah, I also got into design from development side. I also did computer science back in school. So after my first year, I landed a job. But then before that, I had been very, very active and very interested in UI design because I felt a bit disappointed about the kind of product we used to turn up in Africa and Ghana as a whole. And I had kind of just started researching more about what UI UX designer was. And I happened to have worked in a company which gave me the chance to just do it for the first time full time, because it was scary for me thinking nobody really wants to pay for just doing designs, and the value of what design was to many companies at that time was not really so much there. set a few which had more exposure to the outside world. So I was very lucky to have my first job. They saying that we see you spend much time making things look pretty than on the code itself. So why don't you just do it full time? And I was really grateful for that. So that opened my mind to the fact that yeah, you could be a UI UX designer as a full-time job, and I started researching more about it and learning more. And just like what Eldad said and all of them, I think I will say, it was very difficult because we didn't have anybody around to look up to try and then direct us to this is where you should go and this is what you should learn. I think most of us made a bit more mistakes, and then I think it's because of these mistakes that's why when we got to the position where we could help, we felt like let's come up with these certain ideas to try and then fix this problem because I most of us here are very comfortable where we are and what we do, but we feel like here people are struggling and we can give back to the community with this kind of ideas that we want to churn out. So yeah, so that's been a struggle, and that's what has really motivated me to try and do some of the things I'm doing now.
Interesting. And we're going to spend the last portion of our time together talking about the UX domain itself and design. So, James, where did you start? Where did you get your start?
Okay, funny enough, I started from the health field. I did herbal medicine in Keio University, so I have a bachelor's degree in herbal medicine. And then back in school, I think one time a friend asked me to, he was going for a position and asked me to, James, can you create a flyer for me? I was like, no, I've never done designs. But then I tried and I realized it was great. I felt good about doing it. So back in school, I was still going to my lectures, doing my medicine, going to the consulting and all this stuff. But then I was also learning graphic design at the end. And then when I moved out, I came to Mobility where I did research into cancer and genetics. But then on the other hand, I met Joseph, who also in a way introduced me to UX design. I knew about UX design, but I didn't know I wanted to go into UX design. So he spoke about like he asked me we worked on a project, but then I was a web designer, and then we worked on this NGO project, which is supposed to help young kids in education. And then I worked on the website, and he kept asking me a lot of questions. What were you thinking? What did you think about this? I was like, okay, who is this guy? So, so I was
Yeah.
like, and I the first question he asked me was like, how is my design process like? And I didn't know what to say. So we kept on a conversation. I got to know much about UX design, even though I've heard about it, but I didn't really know what it really is. So then, since then, I've been trying to learn about UX design. I've been trying to learn about design thinking, human-centered design, and I got to the point where I realized that okay, this is something I feel like I would want to do. And being in the health field where I do a lot of research and try to learn from data and all those stuff, I could combine these two and then possibly be a health innovator. But then I also ended up trying to do more with the community, which again Joseph introduced me to Figma. So Figma Africa ambassador. So we started teaching people design. We started going out for free, teaching people design from scratch, and not getting people mentoring them, students here and there. And then that was how everything started. So I started from health and then came into design. And also with the health, as everybody, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I feel like if I should give credit to anybody that really helped me to understand what I was doing, it would probably be Joseph because
Wow.
yes,
Wow.
he doesn't know that. But then yeah, he I mean made me really understand what UX design is and then how I could make use of the things I'm doing. So yeah, it's quite a funny story.
Yeah.
It's a great one,
Sure,
actually.
yeah.
I'm curious,
Sure.
how did you meet Felix?
So a few months ago, I was going through my LinkedIn feed and I saw this Excel sheet that people are talking about jobs, COVID. So I opened the sheet and I realized that okay, this is supposed to help people get jobs, especially designers. And then I reached out to Felix. I was like, dude, you have building this for designers. Don't you think Excel is too? And I was like, so
Poor guy, he's trying to do something nice free of charge. And then, dude,
yeah. And it was like, okay, what do you think we should do? So right there, I Felix got in touch. He got through a LinkedIn messaging. We talked for a few minutes, and then we hopped on Zoom. I think in 3 days we got to connect with each other. We in a way, I think because we share the same values, we share the same passion to help the community and all that, we're able to sync and then really like over the weekend. So ADP list actually transitioned from Excel sheet to the website in 4 days. First day we met, and then the next 3 days it became a website. So that is how I
That's
wrote
wild.
it.
James, for some reason, your sound quality goes in and out. So I don't know what the difference is, but at some point you're really, really crisp, and then other points you're real muffled. So, yeah.
Okay.
Daniel, not that you're the last, but you are the last. So, Daniel, what got you into? Where did you come from in design?
So it's a very funny story. I think that for almost every single person over here, the journey it's so interesting how the journeys are very, very similar. Because I also read physics in university, so I graduated with a BSc in physics. So
I see the connection. Absolutely.
That's way too off.
So as a matter of fact, we all belong to the family of misfits, right?
Yeah.
That is how the journey started. But for me, beyond that, I have been a person who has always been interested and very particular about how things look, right? I have always been keen on how things appear because I think that it makes all the difference in the world, how things are presented. And so that is how my design journey actually began. Right after SHS, I started practicing a few things. I remember in first year, actually, I was actually, when almost everyone was using a laptop in school, I was using a desktop because I couldn't really get a laptop for myself. And I really wanted to try out design and see how best I can really make things look. Because I used to get angry when I was seeing some very bad designs, how things were presented and were presented in very horrible ways. And it will get me so worked up because I thought that now this could have been presented well, right? I think that one of the things that led me across this journey was the fact that I remember there was this WhatsApp group called Arts Minded. I think I always mentioned this group. I think Eldad is in Arts Minded. Yeah, Arts Minded started when we were in university, and it was a group of designers who were very passionate about learning and about growing. And so we all decided that, okay, we're going to start a WhatsApp group where we're going to kind of sharpen one another. So you drop your work and then everybody critiques the work and then they give you feedback, sometimes very harsh, but then you have to just go, keep quiet, go and work on it and then come back again. And for about a year, we realized that had become a very good source of growth for all of us. And so beyond that, we realized that, this is something that we can definitely scale and then take it a step further. So then I started entertaining the idea of us meeting as creatives because we used to do it on the WhatsApp group anyway, but us meeting as creatives so that we can start having a conversation on design in Ghana, where we are at, and how we can make sure that we are getting all the recognition that we deserve, and we are also providing the value that we needed to provide. So I remember Eldad was one of the people that I hit up right from the beginning when we started talking about design experience, throwing the idea about. So in the beginning, it was supposed to just be about 30 friends, just meet at a place, talk about design and all of that. But immediately we released the creatives and we put them out there. Almost everybody wanted to be there, and the numbers jumped from 30 to 120 people. And it was the place was full. We had so many people standing around, and then we realized that then this was actually something that the design community in Ghana really needed. And so we went ahead and did a second event that took the numbers from the 120 people to about 300 and something people. And so we decided, okay, then we needed to extend this one into so many arms. We started a podcast out of it where we were going around interviewing some of the design veterans in Ghana to share their story, because we realized that there was a big disconnect. I mean, designers like to hide in their own silos and in their own shells. They don't like to go out there. So we decided to go out there and then pull all of those people to share their stories, because they have been in the space for a very long time, so that they can inspire the upcoming generation of creatives. And so that is one of the things that we did. And then and gradually, I mean, it has grown into a WhatsApp group where from time to time, we are all trying to share our ideas and thoughts on what should be happening in the design space and all of that. So Dex Ghana was really born out of almost everything that every single person here is talking about. The fact that James met Joseph and Joseph made a big difference in his design journey. That is the kind of connections that we are trying to create for people. So when you show up at Dex, you are definitely leaving knowing one or two different people, and then just one or two statements from them will make all the big difference in your could make the big difference in your design career. And for us, we live for moments like that.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Okay, so you guys are on a mission, collectively, individually, but you came together collectively to change the quality of design that is happening, that is actually being created in your area. But you're really about making sure that the people are connected and have what they need to create good design.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got those two things. That powered, it seems to me that was the engine that started all of you down this entrepreneurial path. You could do this for a company, right? You could get hired by a company and do it for somebody else. Why start your own business during one of the most darkest times of the global economy? With a pandemic, but why go that route? That's a high risk. So start with James. Why the risk to start your own business now?
I think anytime we talk about this pandemic, the only thing I can talk about is why ADP started. So, I mean, big companies that we could work for, as you mentioned, are laying off people. So where is the hope?
That's right.
Nowhere to come to. So then I was like, I'm somebody that I easily don't connect with people, easily don't like open up to people. But then when I saw what Felix was doing, I was like, okay, I have been trying to do this, try to connect people in Ghana. How can I connect people out there on a global scale? How can I affect the lives of people, not just in Ghana? So that was what drove me to connect with Felix. And then I was like, I mean, instead of me working for a company, keeping being kept in a company without impacting the lives of people, why wouldn't I try to risk it all, join Felix so that we could impact the lives of people who really need hope? Because we are in the darkest times. And then all these companies that we see, Google, um, Airbnb, and the rest are laying off people. Then there is this scare that, okay, like what is happening? So I think the best thing that came out of ADP is to try and then create a sense of belonging for people who have lost it, who have lost everything that they had in terms of their jobs, who have lost hope. And then it's so scary for them to even open up to people and tell them what is really going on. So with ADP list, we've been able to create that sense of belonging for designers, especially to come together, talk to each other, grow, and then connect with each other in these times of need. So I feel like it's the best thing that has happened to me so far, and I feel like risking everything to create ADP list is something that I would always go out and tell people about. Yeah.
Got it. That's very heartwarming. I don't know if Felix is watching, but he's got to be very proud of what you guys have created. So, why did you go out on your own? Why aren't you working for a big corporation?
So I think that it's a really interesting thing to look at when it comes to working for a big company. Yesterday, I was having a very similar conversation, and I was telling someone that I think that sometimes when we have the opportunity to kind of carve certain paths for different people, it is important that we take those paths. I think I've always believed that there are people who are builders, and then there are people who just live in the buildings, right? So, and I think that I belong to the group of people who are builders, right? So that we can provide shelter for people. And so, and I know not everybody will probably be in the position to say, to want to start their own business, because entrepreneurship is really difficult. It's not as easy as a lot of people might think it is. And so for some of us, we have decided that we want to build something that people would want to belong, or people would want to be a part of. And so for us, one of the things that we hold dearest is even the team that we work with, the people that we work with. We are very particular about their growth, their development, and how they affect the community through the work that they do more than we are about any other thing. And so for me, being an entrepreneur is about the impact that you can make in the lives of the people who might decide that, okay, for me, I want to be part of someone's vision to help build it. And I believe that that is one of the most important things that we can all do in life. Not all of us can be entrepreneurs.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Joseph, same question. Why?
Yeah. So I personally think there are certain things like I don't want to really say something like a higher purpose, but there are certain things you have to be the one to do it, because other people might take it, they might not do it to the extent which you want it being done to have the effect and impact you want to have. So why not? Why not? That's the question. I believe this idea has been around for a long year, and a lot more people have not been able to take it up to do it. So it means people are not either ready to go through the risks and the hassle of making this possible to make the impact that needs to be done, or you are just the only person made up for this problem to solve. So um, for me, I'm is thinking outside of the fact that it's a company, but then looking more into the fact that I want to make an impact, and then more like looking at what I went through to become what I am, trying to make sure another person doesn't go through the same journey to become to go through the same journey to get to where I want to go. So just trying to make sure that giving back to the community and then just improving people's life with what I do. So it's more of what I feel like is a vision. I think it's more of a vision. It's more of a higher purpose and more of what I believe than in quotes being an entrepreneur. It just ended up that for me to be able to do it, I needed to be an entrepreneur. So it's just of the vision. And yeah, it's just more of the impact and then what I really want to lay down. Because for me, what I feel about design is outside just digital products is more of problem solving, and there's a lot more problems in Africa. Which, when you look at it and you put a keen eye to it, just a common design problem, a common design thinking, brainstorming around could bring out a very good solution just to help the continent itself grow to a certain level. So it's more of why don't we empower a lot of people to have that design way of thinking to make sure that in every space of life they find themselves, they're actually making impact. And when I'm imparting design to people, I want them to think outside the problem of just digital screens, but looking at for problems that are really affecting the community as African and seeing how best we can come up with solutions to solve. So for me, design is just a way to think, and I feel like that's the best way to make an impact in Africa here, or make an impact anywhere I go. So it's more of a vision or a mission than being an entrepreneur. So,
Yeah, well, I think that mission, I think you hit the nail on the head that if you want to solve problems and you know of how you want to solve them, that's the entrepreneurial spirit right there. Entrepreneurs are in business to solve problems.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted to take anything away from you, Eldad, but what are your thoughts?
So I think my story is a bit unique because the startup I worked for wasn't founded by me. It was founded by somebody else, right?
Okay.
He was a developer, has been writing code for probably like 10, 15 years of his life, and got to the point where it was like the quality of the products that are being produced are simply not just it. So he wanted to move design to the forefront, and he needed somebody who could lead that charge, right? And I was also like, I wanted to start my own company. So he gave me an offer like 2 years before he hired me, and I turned him down because I'm like, nah, I just want to go start my own thing. But then I thought about it for a while, and I was like, where this man is going, I want to go. Like, our purposes are aligned. Like, the vision of what he wants to achieve is the same as mine. So why not join him, right? And it was difficult from the start because at that point, my skill level was pretty advanced, and I was getting offers that were paying me 3 times, 4 times what I was earning at my current company. But just like a lot of people were saying, the question was, where can I make the most impact? Because yeah, the money is good. Like, I want money. Everybody wants money. But at the end of the day, like, just the longevity of what we are creating in Africa is really important. Because to be quite frank, I'm like, I kind of got sick and tired of just seeing terribly designed products. Like, this could be better. This could be 20, 50, 100 times better than it is. But somebody had to kind of take the risk and be like, okay, let me build this, right? So then I joined the company as one designer, and within 2 years, we've moved from one designer to 6 designers, because we've been able to prove consistently that design can impact how businesses operate and their profits and how people perceive them, and then brings in the opportunity to invest more. So UX Ghana was actually funded by my company. I was like, we need to do this. It's like, let's go. How much money do you need? Let's pull it off. Get everybody together. So it's the exact same thing. It's that thing of like, there's more impact to be made. Money is good, like, but at the end of the day, like, life needs to change. And I wish somebody did that for me. I wish somebody was like, hey, here are the 6 things you need to know. Understand this, meet person ABC who can teach you ABC and then lead you on. That would have made my journey simpler, right?
Mhm.
And I don't lose anything from, giving away a few years of my life to actually help somebody on that journey, right? And like the very selfish thing is, at the end of the day, for me, I understand that if I commit to building impact, I don't ever have to worry about money.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, it's going to take me a few more years, but it's not a problem. Like the value of what we're building currently has a longer shelf life than, however many $1,000 I can get in a month. So I'm not sure that takes that route, which is more difficult, more challenging, but at the end of the day, more rewarding. I still get to where everybody wants to get anyway. So, just stick with it, make impact, and then the rest will follow.
So we're going to end at that note. Can you believe 30 minutes has already gone by?
Yeah.
It goes by very fast.
Yeah.
Really fast. Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. I am all about storytelling. What I would like to know and what I would like to see as a follow-up to this are stories about the impact that you are making. Because I think that will give more people the enthusiasm and the motivation and inspiration to say, it's a risk to become an entrepreneur. It's hard to become an entrepreneur. As a designer, am I doing everything I can to take my talent, my gifts, to really make a huge impact in the world? Well, here's 4 people who are telling me that they did and that they are, and they feel really good about it. I don't hear any regrets from any of you. Is that right?
Yeah.
No regrets.
No, not at all.
And I think that the world is by design. We live in a world by design. Somebody is designing it for us if we are not designing it ourselves. And if you're in the user design, if you're in the user experience, graphic design, any type of digital design, architectural design, engineering design, all of this falls under the same umbrella of design. If you are out to truly solve a problem, solve it. It may not be the company. I would like to thank all 4 of you very much for being on this call with me on the broadcast. If you can hang on for just 1 second when I say goodbye to everybody who joined us today. Apparently, you've got a few fan clubs out there, although nobody is talking. Sure, you'll hear something later. I do want to ask you to come back to Live with Lee and talk about what user experience and digital design is in Ghana, because I think that we're at different places between the U.S. and Ghana is what it sounds like. We're all trying to get to the same place. So I would like to have you 4 back again, if that's okay with you. And again, thank you so much for attending Live with Lee. This will be posted and recorded on YouTube and LinkedIn. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
You too. You too.